All right, what's going on? Motor City Sports Talk. It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We double dipping today. Talk about another player that the Detroit Lions potentially could have drafted. I hope you guys seen my Dominican Sue video. He signed with the Los Angeles Rams, 1 year, $14 million. And he's paired with Aaron Donald, which Aaron Donald could have been a Detroit Lion. So could Odell Beckham Jr. He went one pick after Eric Ebron was selected by the Lions. And now he's on the trading block. Now, if you didn't know, Odell Beckham has been going through some trials and tribulations, and he's supposed to get paid big. If not this season, next offseason. But it's looking bleak that he's going to get paid by the Giants. Obviously, New York City is the media mecca, especially of the East Coast, and Odell Beckham is making major noise in New York. He was on camera. That I believe was showed to be marijuana on the table and a white powdery substance that could have been cocaine or Molly. I don't know. I'm not into drugs at all, but it was making a big that video made a big a big introduction onto the sports scene. ESPN was on it, and it's not known if Odell did the drugs or didn't do the drugs or whatever. But just your reputation on the line, that somebody put that video out there. And you always, in today's social media and videotape and everything, have to be aware of what's going on. And he got caught slipping. And then in Atlanta, he was at a party, and somebody, knocked his jaw loose. And his little blonde hair went off flying up. And it doesn't help the guy that he has a diva-like attitude, where he kicked the kicker's net, and the kicker net came back and popped him in the face. Crying on the sideline, getting into it with Josh Norman, and all the different things that Odell Beckham brings to the table. Is he a top 5 caliber wide receiver? Absolutely. But he brings all that baggage to the table, and then when you put drugs into it, and when you bring violence into it, now, New York got to pay you. Now you gave them an escape route on why they don't want to pay you, why you will be at risk if we give you this money, when the NFL team already don't want to pay you anyway. He said he wanted to be the highest player in the NFL. And, real talk, he was becoming the face of the NFL. Odell Beckham Jr. was becoming synonymous with the NFL. When people say NFL, people thought Odell Beckham Jr. He got a big shoe deal, I believe, from Nike. He was doing things that other players weren't doing. All he had to do was keep a squeaky clean image, at least to the casual public and to the media public. But he couldn't do that. This is a guy that the kids look up to. They love him for all the dance move, all the good accolades. He was bigger than Eli Manning down there in New York. And Eli Manning brought 2 Super Bowl rings. And his play on the field spoke for itself, ladies and gentlemen. He's a baller. He's a baller. I gotta say it again. He's a baller. Imagine Odell Beckham with Calvin Johnson. If Calvin Johnson had walked away from the game with Odell Beckham on the other side of him or in the slot? Absolutely not. Game changer. All this said, should the Detroit Lions trade for Odell Beckham Jr.? They're asking for a first-round draft pick. Only if you can re-sign him to a deal. And if I trade him, then I have to get a receiver away as well. So does that drop my first-round draft pick down to at least a second and third if I give you the receiver that you're asking for? And if I throw a receiver in there, I need something extra as well. If you still want the first. Is it worth the risk? Are you right in the wrong? Is it a bad problem to have Odell Beckham in Detroit? And does Odell Beckham want to be in Detroit after being in New York? Maybe some of the Patriot way could rub off on Odell Beckham, I guess, in Detroit, the new Detroit Patriot way. It could rub off on him. Maybe Bob Quinn could reach him. But this is a risk the Lions don't take. We don't take those risks. Not at all. Even if they calculate and they thinking through, they don't take these risks. But a top 5 receiver that can kind of erase the horrors of Barry Sanders retiring, the horrors of Calvin Johnson just retiring, bringing in Odell Beckham, You feeling seats up immediately. I ain't say immediately. I took it to the hood immediately. You feeling the seats up. You pay him the money. Forget it. You have to pay a receiver anyway. You have to pay Golden Tate anyway. And this is a guy that's instantly going to bring an impact to your team. Say what you want to say about what he does off the field. He's a workhorse on the field. And it's rumored that the Cleveland Browns are interested in him, putting him in there with his old LSU college buddy, slot receiver Jarvis Landry, who's an absolute beast. So you got a guy that can play inside, outside. You can put him with Marvin Jones and Kelly Galladay. And you can kill the game. But is that a risk the Lions are willing to take? Can you find somebody in the draft with a first round pick? If you come to first round pick right now, he gone. He a Detroit Lion. You just make sure you can sign him. Before I trade that pick, I need to see him talk to him about a contract. That's the most complicated thing. Unless you New England and you're only gonna use him for 1 year, and you want to make another late pitch for the Super Bowl. But if I'm Detroit, this is something that you have to consider. I'm not saying pull the trigger on Odell Beckham, but if he wants to be here, you can sign him to the contract that's good enough for the team, or that's team friendly and Odell friendly. Why wouldn't you want to put a top 5 receiver in the Lions uniform? A guy that's going to make people kind of forget about Calvin a little bit, just a little bit. A guy that's going to dominate, that's going to get Stafford another killer out there. And people say, well, we got a first-round draft pick. What first-round draft pick is going to equate to Odell Beckham right now? Honestly, at number 20, I don't know too many of guys. You get him, you get a running back late, in the middle rounds, or you can get 2 running backs still. Get you a pass rusher possibly somewhere in the second round. And shit, I'm just going to roll the dice with that. Will I do it? I'm a risk taker sometimes. I like big names. I'm not saying that my opinions are factual, Bible, whatever you guys want to say, are the hard, concrete words. It's not. It's just an opinion. And I'm giving you guys. I just love Detroit Lions football. And if I got a chance to get somebody like Odell Beckham Jr. and I can check and investigate, go and see what he's going through, and I can check out and say he ain't going to be no problem, which he comes from a father who was a beast of a football player in the state of Texas. He's a privileged kid. Mentally, does he like to have fun? A lot of guys like to have fun. A lot of guys like to do this and do that off the field. But if I can make sure this dude is no real danger and there's no really bad investment about the behavior he's gonna be off the field, I know he's gonna give me everything he got on the field. And he gonna be used because Matthew Stafford gonna throw that thing to him. He gonna open up stuff for Marvin Jones. He gonna open up stuff for Kenny Galladay. You just became that much explosive, especially if you can add a running game to that. Shoot, Aaron Rodgers better watch his cheese back. But it's all hypothetical. I know the Lions won't pull the trigger on this. We know the Lions don't do things of this nature. And I know a lot of the fans probably not going to agree with me. But if he's out there, he's a top 5 receiver talent in my opinion. It's hard to pass up, especially if you can sign him to a contract extension that's team and Odell friendly as well. But it's just a hypothetical, water cooler talk, Motor City Sports Talk, where we talk Detroit sports and One Pride Nation. We gone.